and decided to extend the reception area on Titanic. They also redesigned the small reception area near the B-deck restaurant to split the crowd and added additional seating in both areas. These 3 elevators serviced only the first-class passengers and ran from A-deck to E-deck. A 4th elevator was available off the second-class staircase and was the first elevator to be available for second class on any White Star liner. As no photographs exist of Titanic's forward grand staircase or elevators, it was assumed they were exact copies of those found on Olympic. It wasn't until film director James Cameron explored this area with an ROV that it was discovered the intricate design of their grilles is different to that on Olympic. Not a lot of sea life lives at this depth, but since discovering the wreck we've learned quite a bit about the ones that do. So far, 24 species of invertebrates have been discovered around the wreck, including crabs, coral and sea stars. There have also been 4 species of fish found, with the rat-tail or grenadier fish being one of the more common species. They can grow up to 1 metre long and can be found both inside and outside the wreck. E-deck was also known as the upper deck and provided accommodation for first, second and third class passengers as well as most of the crew. An access corridor used by both crew and steerage ran almost the length of the ship on the port side, just behind this door. Named Scotland Road by the crew after the busy street in Liverpool, the 2.6 metre wide corridor allowed passengers to make their way to and from the dining saloons on F-deck and crew to reach their quarters. This side of the door was strictly first class only, and running down the starboard side were 45 staterooms. These rooms were alternative first or second class and were therefore not as luxurious as those on the decks above, but still comfortable. Many contained mahogany furniture with white enamel brass beds. This stateroom was occupied by Margaret Brown, a wealthy American activist and philanthropist. She was heavily involved in workers' and women's rights and campaigned to support those less fortunate both before and after the accident. Margaret was holidaying in Egypt with friends when she received a message that her eldest grandson was seriously sick at home in the United States. She booked the earliest ship from Cherbourg back to New York, the RMS Titanic. In her interview with Colonel Archibald Gracie, she stated she was lying on her brass bed reading at the time of the accident. She felt the bump, but didn't think much of it and kept reading. It wasn't until she heard men talking about heading up on deck that she decided to find out what happened. One of the men told her to grab her lifebelt and head up onto the boat deck with them. As they made their way up, she saw a group of men manually lowering the F-deck watertight doors from the access points in the floor here, directly outside of her cabin on E-deck. The men were joking around as they worked, so she thought it must only be precautionary. Margaret helped women board lifeboats on the port side of the ship before being persuaded to join Lifeboat 6. She noticed her lifeboat was lacking rowers and organised people to take an oar. She tried to convince the passengers of her lifeboat to head back to the wreck and save those swimming, but was met with opposition from the quartermaster in charge. Once on board RMS Carpathia, she organised a 9-member survivors committee who raised compensation funds for second and third class passengers and paid for passenger telegraph messages. The committee raised over $10,000 in the 4 days' travel to New York, the equivalent of $234,000 in today's money. Margaret, along with 2 other first-class women, organised daily counselling sessions held in the dining saloon, and her fluency in French, German, Italian and Russian helped her console non-English-speaking passengers. Margaret's efforts to help others on board both Titanic and Carpathia earned her respect, as did the determination of Carpathia's Captain Rostron. At a ceremony in New York, Titanic survivors presented Captain Rostron with a silver cup and golden medal to thank him for coming to their rescue and for the hospitality shown to them on board Carpathia. This watertight door is the one Margaret Brown watched being lowered from the floor above. On the other side of the door is the swimming bath and the linen storage rooms. Their state is unknown, although this area flooded around an hour after the accident and is expected to be in good condition due to the lack of water movement here. As we can see, the Turkish baths are well preserved. This was the cooling room, and first-class passengers would relax here after using the temperate, hot and steam rooms just off the side door. Passengers would change into towels using the change rooms in the starboard corner and store any valuables in the cabinet next to the vestibule. The passenger would then make their way down to the temperate room, where they would sit or lay in the heat for 10 to 15 minutes. Here they would start to sweat before moving into the adjoining hot room. After spending another 5 to 10 minutes in the hot room, the passenger would either take a cold shower or a dip in the swimming bath next door, before making their way into the shampooing room. Here the passenger would lay on a marble table while an attendant gave them a full body wash and massage. Once dry and wrapped in clean towels, the passenger would make their way back to the cooling room, where they would relax until their body returned to the normal temperature. The Turkish baths is one of the best preserved areas on the ship, with most of the tiles, ceiling lanterns and wooden panelling still in place. The deep location within the wreck leaves it protected from destructive currents, although there is still sea life down here. The rust icicles, or rusticles, hanging from the ceiling are created by iron-eating bacteria. They come in different shapes and are incredibly fragile, disintegrating when touched. Along with the bacteria, fungi, shells, sand, clay and coal can be found within the rusticles. Scientists have been collecting samples to determine the different strains of bacteria living on the ship, and their research has been used to preserve oil and gas pipelines and safely dispose of old ships and oil rigs. As first-class passengers rose up this staircase and made their way out onto the boat deck, they would have passed the band playing in this alcove next to the entrance. The band consisted of 8 musicians led by violinist Wallace Hartley. They usually played separately as a quintet and string trio at varying locations throughout the day. During the evacuation, the musicians began playing near the B-deck restaurant, before later moving up to this position near the forward grand staircase. They played mostly ragtime tunes to calm passengers standing nearby and draw passengers inside up to the boat deck. Some survivors state that the band played until the end and that the night was so quiet even those in lifeboats away from the ship could hear the music. Many survivors claim that the hymn Nearer My God to Thee was the last song played, although it was also reported to be Songed Autumna. Sadly, all 8 members died during the sinking, with only 3 remains recovered by the cable ship Mackay Bennett. Wallace Hartley was one of them, found with his violin inside his case and strapped to his body. The violin was an engagement gift from his fiancée, and it was returned to her following his death. Memorial monuments have been erected around the world to honour those who died at their posts as Titanic sank. The musicians playing on deck, the passengers who loaded lifeboats and then stood aside, the firemen and engineers keeping the dynamos running. The boilers standing here are part of Boiler Room 2 and were running until the end, powering the dynamos in the stern. A skeleton crew remained in the electrical engine room, redirecting power and keeping the lights on. This is the point where the keel failed and the massive ship began to tear itself apart. As so much of the ship between the bow and stern sections is scattered in the debris field, it's difficult to piece together the last moments of Titanic. Even those watching it happen couldn't agree, with the inquiries held in both the United States and England producing contradicting accounts. Many expositions to find and raise the wreck were proposed over the years, with the exact location of her wreck being unknown. Titanic's coordinates sent out in distress on the night of the accident had been incorrect. On 1st of September 1985, a Canadian-French team were searching the area when Dr. Robert Ballard came across some small debris. He followed the trail which led him to a boiler and eventually the wreck. His discovery confirmed suspicions that Titanic had in fact split, and there was no hope of raising the wreck as a whole. Scientists and historians have long argued for and against the recovery of artefacts from the site, while agreeing the site should be treated as a mass grave. Although it's predicted Titanic's wreck will disintegrate within the next 20 years, her story will intrigue generations to come.
Women and children! This way! Women and children!
Head for that ship on the horizon. Transfer your passengers and tell their captain to come at once. We require urgent assistance.
Surely they can see our rockets, sir.
If they can, they are not responding. As quickly as you can.
Aye, aye, sir. Quickly now! Women and children!
Quickly! The boats are leaving!
Daddy, where are we going?
Shh, love, we're going on a little adventure. We'll be back soon.
Over here. Let's try this one.
I'm afraid it's women and children only, sir.
Please, sir, can't you see my wife needs help with the children?
Sorry, sir. Captain's orders.
What's the meaning of this? Is this a drill?
Only a precaution, sir. Everyone will be back aboard in good time.
John, I can't manage without you. I need you.
We'll just have to for now.
But
Don't worry, Marie. I'll get on another boat. You go ahead with the children.
Daddy, I don't want to go without you.
John, I don't see any men boarding lifeboats.
I'm sure there's other boats further down letting men board. Right, David, help your mother and sister board.
Yes, Dad.
I'm sorry, sir. Women and children only.
For God's
He's
sake,
just a boy.
Just a boy.
What age is he?
He's only 16.
He'll have to stay on board with the other men.
God's sake.
Do something, John.
Is there nothing you can do? My wife can't manage alone.
I'm afraid not, sir. Captain's orders.
Hey, the officers are letting the boys leave on the other side. You must hurry.
Thanks, friend. Marie, take the baby. Look after Emily. We'll get on another boat. Emily, Daddy loves you very much. Be good for your mother and sister. We'll see you again soon.
Daddy, don't go. You have to come with us. We won't be able to find you.
Shush now, love. You're going on the boat with your mum and your sister. We'll be along shortly, I promise.
Daddy, I don't want to go.
Women and children.
Go
This
straight to the
boat is
next
leaving.
boat.
Hurry now.
Do what
This
you
way,
must
please.
to get aboard. Do you understand?
I will, ma'am, I will. Don't worry.
Mind him, John.
Right, Emily. Time to go. Be brave.
No.
Here,
No,
let me help.
Daddy,
Emily,
please.
go. You have
I
to
want
go with your mother.
With you.
Go.
Please let me go with
No.
you. Dad,
We'll be all right. Be
please.
good, child. We'll see you soon.
We'll head straight for another boat.
Women and children. Final call.
Right, it's time to go.
No. She must be terrified.
Oh, the poor thing.
No.
Ready the ropes.
Bye. Bye, Emily. Bye,
Pull it
Marie.
away.
Daddy.
There, sweetheart. They'll be fine.
Thank you.
My daughter was the same growing up. Father's favorite.
Do you believe there's any real danger?
Oh no, dear. I saw men locking the watertight doors as I left my cabin. I'm sure we will be back on board soon.
Hey, how do we get to the lifeboats? Hey, how do we get to the lifeboats?
Oh dear.
Do the steerage have their own boats?
I don't know. There should be boats in the third-class decks, but I haven't seen any.
Surely there must be extra boats kept elsewhere. Otherwise, how can all the passengers leave the ship?
How's your ankle, Helen? You took quite a tumble boarding the boat.
Swollen. I think it may be broken.
Oh dear. When we get back on board, Dr. O'Loughlin can look over it. At least this could make an interesting story for your next novel.
Yes, well, perhaps this type of adventure novel would best suit Colonel Gracie.
Oh, I do hope Father is safe. Surely he'd be safer on board the Titanic than here in this boat. Yes, well, this is not quite the ending to our adventure that I was expecting. Do you remember Father's face when we arrived?
Steady forward and lower away astern.
Steady forward. Lower together, men.
Hold off! I can't manage this boat with only one seaman.
Are there any sailors aboard? Present yourselves. This boat needs another hand. I am a yachtsman, sir. I can row. If you're seaman enough to get onto that boat, you can go. Swing over that loose rope.
Ready?
Oh my goodness.
There, by the oarlock.
Thank you.
Ready! Lower away!
Lower together.
It's so dreadfully cold tonight.
Almost there, Mother.
How long must we sit in these boats?
Till morning. Be glad you're in here and not up there.
I was an unpleasant man.
Mass was lovely this morning.
How nice the captain attended.
Yes, this is his last journey commanding a ship.
Such a beautiful ship to retire with.
There was a planned lifeboat drill this morning. They postponed it so the captain could attend mass instead.
Oh, perhaps that explains why the sailors on the decks seemed almost unprepared when lowering this lifeboat.
And why our lifeboat has only 3 sailors.
Yes, this whole affair's been managed rather badly. I shall be making a complaint when we come aboard Titanic.
Help! I'm trapped! Help! Help!
Mommy, I'm scared.
Shh, it'll be fine.
Get ready to release the ropes.
Aye, aye, sir.
There's water coming in.
Get that plug in. The boat will founder.
I have it.
You there, stand on that plug. Make sure it doesn't come out.
Well, I never.
Man the oars. We need to leave this ship. Her suction will pull us under. Pull! Hurry, damn you!
Where are we heading?
Towards the lights on the horizon, just off the port bow.
Pull! Put your backs into it!
We can help row.
No! The men will row.
I can steer the rudder, so you can row?
No, you will not. Sit down!
Look, child. Look what I have here. He's friendly. He won't bite. Would you like to hold him?
He's so soft.
Can you look after him for me? While we're on this boat?
Yes, Mum.
I should have stayed on deck with Quig.
No, it was good of you to join us in the boat.
Quig wouldn't have allowed you to stay on deck.
I'm sure we will be back on deck shortly. Never mind that sailor.
And what if there is real danger?
There can't be. The captain said so himself. This is just a precaution.
This fog on the horizon and no moonlight.
Yes, it's hard to see anything tonight.
I doubt the other ship will even see us approach.
Ma'am, can you hold this, please?
Ah, much better. Thank you.
Let's hope they see us.
It looks like some boats don't have their lanterns lit.
And all the stars. The sky is beautiful tonight.
Look at them all around.
Are there any supplies in this boat?
There's nothing. No water, no bread, no compass.
Any blankets?
I don't see any.
There are a few here.
Yes, some here too.
A stowaway!
Oh, officer! Officer, look!
Sorry. So sorry. I can't swim.
Coward! Get over there and start rowing.
I can't. I broke my arm. That's why I can't swim. Please, sir, let me stay. I'm begging you. I don't stand a chance up there.
Sit down then. You're lucky I haven't thrown you overboard.
Here you are.
Thank you. Here you are, madame.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. It must be below freezing.
Thanks.
Best we keep that baby warm.
Thank you. Are you warm enough, Emily?
Yes, Mum.
Such a precious child.
They are always so beautiful at that age.
Do you have children yourself?
Yes, my daughter is at our home in New York.
I wonder if the others made it to the boats.
I hope they did. The boats must be all in the water by now.
Do you have family on board?
No. Our colleagues in the a la carte restaurant.
We were allowed to go up to the boats, but the men are being held in the second-class dining hall.
Oh, that's dreadful. Why aren't they allowed up to the boats?
They have to wait until all the passengers have left the ship.
But I did see Mr. Morget on deck, and the head chef, so they might have been let up early.
Oh, I hope so. The ship is listing quite badly now.
The lights don't seem to be getting closer.
Perhaps they're just reflections on the water.
No, they're definitely lights from another ship. We were signaling them earlier.
They look like stars to me.
Keep rowing towards the lights. Captain's orders.
You should assist us rowing. Allow one of the women to steer the boat. It's a perfectly calm night.
You row, sir. I will remain in command of this boat.
The women should be allowed to row.
No!
Rowing will keep us warm and we'll reach that ship in half the time.
I agree. The movement will warm us.
I am in charge of this boat. The women are not to row.
Oh my. Look at the angle of our ship.
But it's unsinkable. Surely?
She'll sink.
But the watertight doors should keep her afloat.
We only glanced the iceberg. Surely she isn't that damaged?
She'll founder. It's just a matter of time.
What about those not in lifeboats?
Deliver us from evil.
We must go back.
No, if we go back, they will swamp the boat.
People are dying. Can you not hear them?
It's our lives now, not theirs.
You cannot leave them. Please go back.
There's nothing there but a lot of stiffs.
People are still alive.
We aren't going back. That's final.
I hope you will be able to live with yourself after this.
What about Daddy?
Thank you.